Alright, this is Playtest 1 of WBS, featuring Izendale and Dracoaeon. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah, so let's get started, shall we? So yeah, we'll start with writing up characters for you. Um, you can write a generalist or a specialist, whichever you want. And we'll start at 175 points.
All right.
Setting wise, too, you guys will be playing monks from a monastery, like Shaolin style monks, not
Okay.
European monks. And it's going to be a pretty straightforward session, so don't worry about anything too specific for character wise.
Cool.
Just let me know where you're going with your character and all that as you go.
Considering I already have a 175 point character, I'm pretty much set.
Yeah, didn't you just write up yourself though?
Yeah.
You're not a Shaolin monk, are you?
No.
Oh, you might be actually. I don't know. But yeah, it's probably
The only things I need to do is to move a few skills around, and that's it.
yeah.
To be
It's just
honest.
this is going to have mostly combat happening in it, so actually being good at combat will help. Um, that said, I have designed it in a way that you can play it non-combat, but because there's just the two of you, you know, if you can both
Yeah, I
actually
think
fight, it'll
my
help.
character is gonna be fairly combat oriented.
Yeah, yeah. I like to think that my skill list still allows for a variety of non-combat features.
Yeah, I spotted quite a few.
I mean, that's not even the complete list. I stripped it down from what it was. So, if I could make a suggestion though, is to put at least one rank into the different type of weapon types, and one into each of the strike types.
Yeah, the way
Uh,
I've got planned, I have for my
um,
skills and the
yeah,
feet skills.
yeah,
I mean, legs skills.
yeah. But if you put one into each of the strike types plus one extra rank into one of them, they'll give you the bonus rank for that category. So even if you only have one rank in the weapon types, you'll always have at least three ranks, no matter which attack you do.
Oh, cool.
Three ranks being important because
Alright.
that's what you need for the dice. Yeah. I know it's bad feedback on my end, but I'm actually going to have to refer to my own PDF a lot for what to do with things.
Oh well, fine.
Partially because I've done so many revisions, I'm likely to just say the wrong thing off the top of my head.
Yeah, makes sense to have
Has a
these things
tendency to
correct.
happen, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm better off reading and making sure I'm telling you the right thing than telling you the wrong thing, right?
Yeah, I mean the playtest won't do much good if you're using the wrong rules.
Exactly. It's nice to have people that understand the point of a playtest.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So yeah, you don't really have to worry about much backstory or anything like that for your character in this. So yeah. That said, a couple flaws will be nice.
Sure.
Yeah. Um, Is it right if I just call you Draco? It's easier than trying to pronounce the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I go by.
Okay.
Right.
Izendale and I were discussing the character points for character creation, and so I just
Yeah.
want to make sure you understand correctly how the costs work.
If you want to, I can link you to my basically the spreadsheet I used to create my character.
Yeah,
Basically, I
Well, I mean,
use
I think, yeah.
so for ease of calculation, I made a price chart. That's the thing that I wanted to just share with you, just so that math doesn't take up too much time.
yeah, it's a handy
Yeah,
chart.
that
It's
would
just
actually be pretty cool.
it's just each level of the attribute or skill and how many points to get to that point.
Yeah.
I posted it in
Yeah.
general.
To let you guys know as well, I have a few story points planned for the session,
Okay.
but there'll also be some random event stuff happening as well from a limited chart. So, but the story events are basically all combat. I mean, if you can find a way around the combat, then go for it. I'm not forcing that, but I'd rather you did.
I give up. I give up on making it look better.
Yeah, and it's readable. It's fine. Also, Draco, did you understand the part when it came to the secondary attributes and building them up? Because that was another part that gave some confusion.
Oh, yeah, the ones that are like the initial stat is decided based on the stats it's based on. So like, yeah.
Yeah. The part that confuses some people is when purchasing extra points into them. So they have a value based off whatever their attributes are that they're based off. But then when you're
Yeah.
buying points just into the secondary attribute, you buy it starting at 0.
Right.
So it's cheaper to increase the secondary attribute directly than it is to increase the base attribute it's from.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense in the sense that, like, say you want to increase a secondary stat, you're basically starting from 0. The points you have it are not from buying it; they are from the main stat.
Yeah. I was just making sure you understood that part because that'll throw the points way out the window.
Yeah, because I made a mistake in the understanding part and got pointed out.
Yeah. Which, feedback for me, I gotta try to write it more concisely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just taken me a while to make sure, because like I want to put some points in the stats, but I also want to leave some points for the skills and stuff.
Yeah. And that's part of the thing. Like, most games like this, you just put it onto the skills, forget the stats, because the stats don't do much. But in this, all the stats are important.
Yeah.
Well, most of them. I mean, if you're not playing with chi, then mental stats aren't as important, but, you know. Oh, to let you know as well, Draco, this isn't going to be a culturally sensitive game or anything like that, so... You know, the basic setting is like Chinese fables, but I'm not going to be specific and accurate to Chinese legend or
Alright,
anything
yeah,
like
that's
that.
good.
Or
I
else-
get the vibe of them, but I don't know the details. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll say, or else that Izendale is gonna just stop every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
But
why
actually, I'm just kidding.
that's why I let you know as well, Izendale, because you know you being Chinese. So, like, for example, I don't know if there's even actually dragons in Chinese legend, but you know I might put dragons in that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's Chinese or Japanese with the land dragons.
Chinese have actually water serpents, basically.
Ah, right. So close, but not exactly the same thing. Uh, yeah. So, any idea where you're going with your character at the moment?
Mm, thematically or skill wise?
Thematically.
I'm thinking of a lad in his 30s. Kind of like, well, his name is like essentially translates something to Dragon Wind. He's gonna be like a flow kind of guy.
Ah, right. So more agility over strength.
All about being smooth and shit.
Yeah. See, that sort of concept too about, knowing exactly how much force behind things and all that is why I brought in the controlled effort mechanic.
Hmm.
It's not just as a Take 10 equivalent, but it makes thematic sense.
I'm gonna list my skills before I start pouring into the tasks. That's too hard. So I want to make sure I have all the skills I want.
Yeah. And that's part of why I'm playtesting as well, is I'm not sure whether the points are enough,
Yeah. One thing I'd like to ask about the skills is there's strike types.
Yep.
How do those apply to foot attacks?
Um,
Because something like a hook is kind of like sounds like a punch.
A spinning
specific
kick.
move.
yeah, it's part of with the combat. Don't look at it that you're doing a closed fist jab. You're doing an attack that has the mechanics of closed fist and jab.
Okay.
So it's the mechanics are just there for, the modifiers and, the time it takes for the attack. But
Yeah.
you can flavor it however you like. I've written the strike types in a way that, they're just
Yeah,
different
so
types. You got
technically like a roundhouse kick could be like a
that could be a hook.
weapon type leg front hook.
Yeah, exactly. So just look at the strike types as quick and weak, average, slow and strong, and then trick shots.
Yeah.
That's the basic idea of it.
Yeah. What was that you said about having a point in all the weapon types to get a bonus? What?
So if you have 5 ranks in a category, in a core skill, like if all the sub skills in a core skill have 5 ranks total, the core skill gets 1 rank. So when you use any of those
Okay.
sub skills, they get that bonus rank.
Right. So if I have weapon type leg and I have 1 in that, and then I have 2 in heel, 2 in front, and 1 in shin, I get 1 up on the weapon type.
Yeah.
Cool.
And because you need at least, for every 3 ranks you get 1 dice, and you need at least 3 ranks to get the dice with modifiers. If you put 5 ranks under strike types, which will be 1 in each plus 1 extra, they'll all have at least 2 ranks. So whichever attack you go to use, you'll always have at least 3 ranks.
Yeah. So you always get a die.
Yeah. So you put 1 in each. That way, it's nice to have the option because of the different
Yeah,
speed costs and all
definitely.
that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Of course, if you do go to do that 1 in each plus 1 extra, put that 1 extra in your main attack, because at 4 ranks, you get a bonus damage dice.
Hmm.
So, I figure that's a nice level that most starting characters should at least be able to get most of them done at relatively cheap.
Yeah. Making sure I have the right costs for the skill.
Yeah. And I know I haven't really written much about the skill system, but the way it generally works, it's not a specific, okay, this is a situation, make me this skill check. It's,
Yeah.
you'll say how you approach things, I'll tell you what skills to use depending on how you approach things.
Yeah, cool. So you're doing the thing like Dungeon World where it's fiction provides like the
Narrative leads to
explanation,
mechanics.
and then the mechanics is to check what happens.
Yeah. But, like, you know, you two could be making the same check. You're trying to stealth past guards. But, you know, say Izendale might be trying to sneak into the shadows and whenever a guard looks away, sprint to the next tree. Whereas you just might be directly doing the slow-moving, typical rogue stealth. That will be two completely different skill checks.
Yeah.
You know, Izendale's, with that example, would be sneak plus run. Because it's about sprinting between the spots.
Yeah, and being all silent could be sneak and quiet. For
Yeah, your basic rogue stealth check is sneak and quiet. I love it too. A lot of people bring up, oh, why is sneak and quiet differently? Why are they separate? Well, sneak is how you move. Quiet is about making noise.
Yeah.
You can do one without the other. And that's how I looked at the skill system too. With all the aspects in it, I tried to think, what are all the aspects that apply to various things? You know, if it's an aspect that makes up a skill check and can be trained on its own. Basically, if it's something that can improve by itself, I made it a skill in the thing. Yeah. So how about you, Izendale? How's your character going?
Yeah, I'm basically ditching a lot of other skills and downgraded a few rank 2 skills and purchased basically the entirety of hand weapon types and the entirety of strike types, so that there's bonus.
Gotta love it too, because of the skill point cost. You can just take a couple points off one skill and then get a whole bunch of other skill ranks.
Exactly.
And again, if you're wondering the reason for the increasing cost, like actual legitimate reason outside of game balance, is because when you think about it, it's usually easier to learn the basics of something than it is to progress in it.
Yep, definitely true.
Yeah, like there's a reason, you know, like a basic like learning the basics of medicine, like first aid can be done in a couple days. Then learning basics of medicine is a year, but then for a full doctor's course, you need to go for like 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, because you get to that point where the more difficult stuff does take longer to learn. So, makes sense to me anyway.
So the skill costs is base 3 plus 1 for points you have.
Yeah, basically, that's the way to look at it.
Just refer to the chart. It's easier.
Yeah.
Basically, for skills, if you want to raise...
Is it an interactive chart?
It's not, unfortunately.
Alright. Oh yeah, it's just here in the price chart, raised from 0.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to buy, if you want to buy a second rank skill, you pay 7 points, and that's it.
Yeah.
You get a 7 point.
Yeah.
It's a second rank skill.
Yeah, so it's the same cost for skills and stats, except for skills, it's kind of like one.
Skills start at 0. Attributes start at 1.
Yeah.
Attributes start 1 and skills start 0. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Attributes are actually 2 plus. By the way.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did I math wrong?
No. 4 plus 3 is 7.
No. Which attribute are you talking about? Primary or secondary?
Primary.
For the 2 costs.
Wait. Let me check the PDF to make sure I'm telling you right. Ugh, this is one of those. I actually went to write up a character and screwed up the numbers myself. Okay. Oh, I sometimes make random noises when I'm thinking. Hope that's not a problem.
Worry about it.
That's not a problem.
Okay. Okay, primary is current +2. Secondary is current +2. And skills are current +3.
Okay, so skills are +3.
Mm-hmm. Also, not that you can actually afford it, but take note of the max ranks that you can put into a sub-skill as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, after playtesting, I might increase that value at some point, but I need to put some restriction on it, right? Oh, something else I wrote into just this revision. Did you notice how some references to attributes are the full title and others are the abbreviated capitalizations?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the distinction between the two?
Is it so that when it's written in full length, it's referring to the base value?
Yeah. And when it's the shorthand capitalization, that's the effective value based off your vigor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody suggested that, because in the previous versions I had it fully written out as your boosted agility and your boosted dexterity, and it took up so much space.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
It's easiest just to write it as bam, there. Especially when I'm writing notes for bloody NPCs and all that as well. Ugh. Oh yeah, I realised something a couple of days ago as well. When you know how in this, whenever you use your physical stats, you consume vigor. One of the key aspects of the thing. I realised something recently that a very popular system, Hero 6 Edition, does the exact same thing. Yet people have a problem with it, saying it's too much bookkeeping in my system, but then people readily suggest Hero System. It's kind of weird. I don't know, it makes me think whether people actually play using that part of the mechanics or not.
Yeah. Also, with the feet type attacks,
Yeah.
I'm assuming front means the front, like the foot. Heal.
The ball of your
means
foot.
literally heal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Front can be, like, it could be a toe kick, it could be the top of your foot, could be the ball of your foot. I left it vague,
Yeah.
because most of them end up with the same base result, really.
I'm surprised there's no knee kick.
I actually have it written into a previous one. Knee works as, what was it? Just front of foot.
Probably a heavy front.
Yeah, I've got knee. I've written it in a previous version that knee is equivalent to front, elbow is equivalent to closed fist.
Alright.
Just because, again, you flavor your attacks, really.
Yeah.
And the only time you really be using a knee or an elbow is when you're up close and probably getting grappled anyway, right? But yeah, flavor your attacks however you want.
Also, if I have, like, let's say, no points in weapon type arm things, I can still punch, it just won't have extras.
Well, that depends. If you have at least 3 ranks from strike types alone, then you will. So your fist is going to be really flimsy, but your striking with... your strike is accurate enough to still do damage, even though your fist is flimsy.
Okay.
It's that sort of thing. On the other hand, me as a GM, if you end up doing essentially a critical fail, but having all your dice backfire on you, Yeah, if I'm going to work out something, I'll base the fact off your fist was really flimsy.
Yeah.
Look at
So
one.
if I have,
I was just going to say, look at one rank in these skills as like, one rank is the equivalent of knowing not to put your thumb inside your fingers when you make a fist.
okay.
So it's the basics of not fucking it up.
Yeah. So I have 5 in the leg skills. So do I type in because I get 1 plus rank?
Yep.
Do I just type it as weapon type leg 2, or do I just make it weapon type leg 1 plus 1?
Well, so heel, front, and shin
To
all together
distinguish
at 5
the-
ranks.
Huh?
Heel, front, and shin all together at 5 ranks.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 2.
Okay, then weapon type's leg has 1.
Yeah.
It actually gets a
So
rank in its own right.
Yeah, so you don't put points in those.
No,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
because
that
you
makes-
can't train the core skill.
Yeah.
And again, the reasoning behind this is it's training that can carry over to other skills.
Yeah.
Like-
So if you're really good at doing heel kicks, maybe you'll learn front kicks easier as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even not just learning it, it's when you go to use it. Like, you've already got some control over using your leg as an attack, so a front kick for that person would be easier than for somebody who's done no leg training whatsoever.
Yeah.
Even with the same level of training.
Yep.
Think of
Yeah,
it too
this is
like
a lot Yeah, this is a lot simpler because you don't have to invest points into the core skills. They're
yeah,
kind of like counters.
yeah. It's just bonus ranks. The catch is though, if you're using 2 sub skills from the same core skill, you only apply the core skill ranks once. Another example that I've used to people is, 2 people want to use the tumble skill. One of them's a trained dancer. Which one's going to use it easier?
Yeah.
The dancer
Yeah, like-
might not have any tumble training, but what they do have with their training is about their body being limber and going into the right positions. So it really does make sense to me, anyway. I might be wrong and just self-centered. I don't know. Does it make sense to you guys, at least?
What's the next bonus, by the way? At 5 you get 1. Do you get the next at 10?
Yeah. Every 5 ranks.
Alright.
Also, don't worry if your total ranks don't come to a multiplier of 3 when you go to make checks. It's for every 3 ranks you get a dice, but if you have 1 or 2 left over, you get +1 or +2 to your final result. So
Alright, cool.
think of it more that you always apply the ranks as a modifier, but if the modifier is 3, you trade that in for a dice.
Yeah.
Which, on the other hand, you can trade that dice back out for a +3 to the final check anyway. And if you're willing to put the time into it as well, feel free to go into the chi manipulation stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna attribute my first for these 2 categories.
What was that?
Yeah, I'm gonna check into all the other stuff, but I'm gonna do this little thing first so I don't lose track of how many points I've spent.
That's a good idea.
Because while I don't mind doing maths, I'm not particularly good at it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, computers can count.
Yeah. At the very least, I would suggest putting at least 1 point into chi barrier, if you're not going for any other chi skills.
Yeah, that would make sense. My character is kind of a protective-minded one.
It's not just that, it's all characters will start with chi, but you can't use it
Yeah,
without having
regardless
chi
whether you
manipulation.
utilize it much or not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has spirit. Like, chi is the power of the spirit. Which is why in future supplements, demons won't have it.
Cool.
Like,
I like the flavor of that.
yeah, it makes sense. You know, having a spirit is a privilege of the mortals. But yeah, because you have, without any chi manipulation, you can't actually spend your chi. At the very least, you may as well give you the one that gives you some damage reduction.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry about that.
I was just saying that at the very least, put one rank into chi barrier, if no other chi skills, just so you have something to spend it on. May as well get the one that's damage reduction.
So, how does exactly chi multi-shot work?
Give me a sec. I'll look at the aspect to see what I wrote. Okay, increase the number of chi attacks shot by 1. Each shot is motion cost of 1. Okay, so are you asking like one you've actually activated and all that?
Like, because if you're describing a spell, do you need to take points in multi-shot if you want to cast a spell that has multiple projectiles in it?
Not necessarily. Multi-shot is multiple attacks with the same power spread over different motion points. On the other hand, you have split shot, which is all at once, but the damage is divided between them.
Right.
So, it really depends what you want. Have you seen Dragon Ball Z?
Of course.
Okay, you know when they'll like charge up and then throw multiple high-powered beams,
Yeah.
one after the other? That's multi-shot.
Yeah, and then key blasts are like shot or something.
Yeah, but when Krillin attacks the Cybermen and he hits them all at once,
Yeah.
that's split shot. The one attack with
Right.
its damage divided, but they all attack at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really handy when people have seen the stuff I get the ideas from.
Yep.
So yeah, multi-shot is also pretty costly, but you know, I'm pretty sure it's cheaper firing multi-shotted powered up ones than to fire multiple powered up ones, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was cheaper to just fire multiple ones, then it would make sense to have that as a skill. Of course, it's cheaper to have that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna kind of stay with melee stuff though, because
Yeah. It's
the
quite a heavy
rules
investment
are-
to
I-
even make useful chi attacks.
yeah, I was just looking at the
Yeah.
skill points I've already spent, and it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, I actually want to have points left for stats too.
Yeah. I've designed it in a way that's like, as a starter character, if that's what you want your character to do, because of the heavy investment, the idea is that's all your character's trained to do at this point.
Yeah, I'm
But-
mostly thinking like, also a question about the skills that are non-combat related.
Yeah.
How proficient at something would your character be if they had no points in that skill? Let's say my character has no points in literacy, but I would assume they can still read.
I haven't written down anything hard like that. It will be that you're making a literacy check.
Yeah, so the skills are mostly just for challenges.
Yeah. When it comes to things where, you know, oh, your character should be able to do it by default, like literacy, that's where the controlled effort comes in. If you've got 6 ranks in literacy alone, then, you know, that would be, you know, you do a controlled effort, that's 6 from the dice by trading them in, plus whatever your into wisdom stat is.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, you've only got 1 rank in it, you might be able to read a basic book.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more a skill challenge, as you said, not direct competency. But that said, too, it's you can be as smart as you want, but if you haven't trained to read at all, you know, that's why I've got that. You'll always roll at least 1 dice, but if you don't have enough ranks to actually get a dice, you don't add any stat to it.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, you might get lucky, but Yeah. I feel that works anyway. There's also various status effects that I haven't written a direct thing for, because I was hoping to leave them more open. Stuff like being grappled, knocked prone, or being off balance. So, you see them in like trip and grapple and all that stuff. I haven't written anything directly for them. But, it'll more be circumstantial.
Also, the PDF, if I remember correctly, you mentioned that like a regular person would have 3 in base stats.
Yeah. Regular person being your peasant farmer type. So, somebody that does labor every day. Yeah. I mean, you can have your mental stats lower if you want.
Eisen.
Yep.
How's your character like? Should I, because I'm going for a mostly physical character, should I go for a
Same
fast or a tanky one?
Mine, I moved my stats around a little bit so that he's more of a strength,
Okay.
strength based, I guess, character.
Yeah, because the way I was going with this character seems like it's gonna be a pretty agile, kind of like a heart eater.
Yeah, mine is probably gonna be slower. Well,
Okay.
agility is still high, dexterity is still high, but yeah.
Yeah, you're a precise but slow character. Cool. Yeah, I had to ask because my other option was to be like this kind of super tanky, slow person, and it would suck if both of us were the same kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's also why I wanted us to write characters together, so if you wanted to, work out some balance between you, you could do that too.
Yeah.
At an initial glance, do you reckon the system specifically favours specialists or generalists, or do you reckon it could cater to both?
The way the skill system works, seems to favor specialists. However, because of the fact you always have that one die, generalists would be okay. I guess the thing is, with low character points, like low even being 150, I think there would be an issue in a longer campaign where there would be multiple types of checks, and there are so many skills that you would have to spend absurd amount of like character points to get a decent at most of them.
Yeah. That said, That said, I'm not designing the difficulty system to be like some where it's an easy challenge for the party, so make it this based off their level. I'm wanting this to be one of those proper systems, like in D&D, where it's a DC 12 check. It doesn't matter what their level is, it's a DC 12 check.
Yeah.
So, you may need to put some to be competent, but on the other hand, if it's really difficult, why is your character attempting it?
Yep.
In the full skill list.
I mean, in a game like D&D, like in a system like that where you use like stuff like that, I kind of think that in this system, a combat specialist is probably going to be the most efficient character because the combat is clearly the deepest system.
Yeah.
So having high stats for that and high skills for that seems to be like the thing. Because, as you said, DC checks aren't exactly difficult to pass with a bit of luck, as long as you have average stats.
Yeah. Like what? It's the DC of checks starts at 3 and then goes up in groups of 3.
Yeah.
A good way to look at the part of the reason I added the other skills is think in Dragon Ball originally, you had a 2-person party, Goku and Bulma. One of them was a fighter. But Bulma may not have been a fighter, but she was able to do a lot of other things. Like she had diplomacy skills, she had crafting skills, she had all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, they're both beneficial to a long-term party.
Alright, I'm slowly getting there with the character. I have that's done. Now I have to
Alright. Izendale, how are you going?
Yeah, mine is completed.
Alright, let's have a look. Okay.
I'll probably make a note somewhere saying that I have 5 ranks in in fixed weapon type hand and 5 ranks in striker types.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, the skill points are correct. So okay. Okay, your primary stat points are correct. What's with the points left minus 24?
It's I was the chart is already originally designed to be 150 points.
Gotcha.
So currently my character has 174 points.
Yeah. Do you feel you got enough of your character done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like 150 is kind of low too. Once again, I think I'm repeating from my last session. 150 does seem to be low.
Yeah.
So that extra
With
25 points made a difference?
The extra 24 points did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can like, I'm not even done yet, and I can already see because like if a normal like working person has 3 in all stats, if you want any kind of skill proficiencies for a new character at all, you're gonna have very average stats, which isn't necessarily bad, like in itself, but it depends on what kind of adventures are planned. Because I mean, it's kind of weird for, let's say, a bunch of regular people to be fighting something supernatural.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like 175. I can have a couple of stats that are a bit higher than normal.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, and I still have enough for skills. I mean, 175 doesn't even seem that high, but this is like more like this is a good starting level, I think.
You feel like you're somebody that's actually done training rather than an average person.
Yeah, 175 seems to be basically the equivalent of a black belt student. So someone who just acquired his black belt in karate.
Yeah.
So he only devoted 3 years of training, not full time, 3 years of part time training, to his practice.
Right. Okay. So you feel better than the average person, but you don't still quite feel at that Shaolin monk level then.
No.
Okay. Well, training Shaolin monk.
As far as Shaolin monk level goes, 175 points feel like you've lived in Shaolin Temple for 1 year. And
okay.
Yeah, I can kind of support that. Yeah.
It's amazing the difference that 25 points make, though.
Yeah, it lets you broaden out to an entire new skill tree.
Yeah. See, knowing that, though, it's, next playtest I might increase it to 200 with whoever I'm doing with, and see if that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, looking at all your stuff. So Eisen, you've put points directly into the secondary attributes as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Just remember that reflex and speed are based off the vigor affected stats, not the base ones.
Come again?
Reflex and speed are based off the altered primary attributes of Dex and Agility, not just their base ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, nothing wrong with your character sheet the way you've written it, but just keep that in mind when it comes to combat, you'll actually be using different to what your total says there.
Can I see it on
Yeah.
Roll20 already?
No, are you talking about the character? Draco?
Yeah, about your character sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the spreadsheet. My character is basically the left part of the spreadsheet.
Right. Okay. I love looking at the way our skills are distributed. Like, you're clearly a bit more of a generalist, and I'm kind of focused on one thing.
This will definitely be interesting to see how it plays out then, won't it?
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was hoping to test too, is generalists versus specialists, whether they're actually legitimately valid characters.
Yep.
And whether they actually compete, well, not compete, but perform on the same level.
Exactly.
Or at the very least, as close to the same level as possible.
Yeah. You know, it's like, again, going off D&D, a mage and a fighter perform at the same level because of resource consumption.
Mm-hmm.
And going off that example, again, obviously the specialist is going to be better at that one thing they do. But does the extra capability of the generalist make up for not being as good at any specific thing? Yeah.
So
well,
you don't spend points on anything except for attributes and skills, right?
and you can get special techniques and all that kind of stuff. But primarily just attributes and skills. Are either of you planning on taking the skill Link?
Huh?
In the skill list, there's one skill called Link. I was wondering if either
No.
of you were planning on taking it.
No, don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. I wrote it in as an optional role, as just if either of you were looking at it, then I would let it in, you know? Yeah, in combat maneuvers, linking.
Yeah. I kind of read it and feel like with the current character, I think he's more of a one hit kind of, well, not a one hit kind of hit, but he focuses on each hit rather than
Yeah. He doesn't do a flurry, he does precision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you read the linking section. Does that feel accurate for what an actual attack combo would be?
Let me reread the section real quick.
Yeah. Because it's like, obviously, anything you do in this will be a sequence of attacks. But doing a combo is a bit different to just doing attacks in succession. You know? Yeah.
Which page is the link?
30.
Mechanics?
30. There's probably some inconsistency around the PDF too about where it says motion cost, motion voids, all that stuff, but you can work out what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Motion value.
Anyone can just ask you.
Yeah, exactly. But usually by context you can work it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like where it says, the link resolves at final motion cost in the first action and link +1. Obviously I mean the motion value. The timer, or whatever the hell I called it this version. Motion value. That's it. Yeah. And you understand how the whole combat thing works, right? Like the core of the system.
I hope I do.
What was that, Draco?
Yeah, I understand the concept, but I'm not 100% sure of how the mechanics will work out in an actual fight. But I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, but you got the basic concept of you declare it, then it resolves later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the core piece of it. To me, that represented like actual speed and all that actually happens in a fight.
Yeah.
Find it interesting too. One of the common complaints about basically any RPG is, oh, why do they always just stand there and hit each other in turn? So I make an RPG where you don't just stand there and hit each other in turn, and people complain about being too complex. You can't have both. Like, to make that work, you have to have some complexity there.
Yeah.
You can't have both happen at once. It's like a lot of the people I've been getting feedback from, like I like the people on the math squad, like they're nice people and all that, but a lot of the people give me feedback on my mechanics in the game design section, telling me it's all complex. Most of them are powered by the Apocalypse players, so it's like I'm just not sure whether they're allowed to give feedback on complexity.
Yeah, and also it's like, I think it's great to have opinions from all kinds of players, because it averages out.
Yeah. I'm not negating
picture.
their opinion, but it's
Yeah, I definitely know the feeling. Yeah,
it's like a sci-fi fan giving feedback on a drama.
Here's the thing. On my end, it feels like you are only giving the information partially without partially the reason they think of it is they didn't see the other systems backing up the portion you released, not released, but you put out.
Especially
for them to evaluate.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about I was actually there when we were talking about the speed of spells, like the way the spells are built.
Yeah.
And it's like I could definitely tell that it has a good concept, but I can also see why I think it was Scarium, why he was saying it was weird because he didn't have the PDF in front of him, like he didn't have the whole thing.
I do have a problem with not fully explaining things. I get that. But that's not the stuff I'm talking about. I'm talking like where they've got the full context of it, and then they're still telling me it's too complex. Like yesterday, specifically, I was talking about stuff with the skill system, and I was getting feedback on the layout of NPCs, and one of them was saying, "Oh, why do you have what was it? Why do you have the combat maneuvers there? Everyone's just going to end up doing the hit for more damage, so just remove them." Like, really? You serious? Like, and I asked them what would I do.
Also, the fact that like in combat, because of the whole like you declare it and then it resolves. Because I'm kind of like, when you say you roundhouse kick the opponent, I'm assuming you're supposed to say that you roundhouse kick the opponent instead of saying I perform a hook front leg attack.
Yeah.
Right?
What you do is
so. In that case, it's like, of course, someone could try to power game the system by repeating a previous move, but it's also like the GM can affect that and kind of like.
I can legitimately say that the enemy knows exactly what your move is. So yes, when he went to do 2 jabs and then stepped at that last point, he did legitimately know he had the time to do that.
Yeah.
It's not just. That's one thing I was wondering about too, is whether I should tell the players what the enemy was going to do. Because it's like, if you know what he's doing, you know how many motion points you have before he acts. And
it's like,
it's probably fair.
Yeah, both options there are legitimate. If it's unknown, it becomes more of a cautious approach kind of situation where you have to kind of unwind the situation at hand.
I guess
and if you tell the player what the opponent has, I think there is more room for skill instead of having to
Yeah,
guess, because
because
then you can calculate it like a puzzle in your head, like how could I solve
yeah,
the
the
situation and
character
make
might
sense of
still
it.
know.
And considering, I think the philosophy for this game is to have it be more player skill based rather than character stats based.
Yeah,
I feel like letting the players know and let them analyze and let them optimize their turn would be best probably be the choice that is best befitting of the design philosophy for this specific system.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess too, it really just comes down to the whole meta knowledge aspect. You know, like I tell you, the player's what he's doing, so the initiative count is fine. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your character knows it, so they wouldn't necessarily risk 3 jabs when he's going for the strong hook. Strong hook. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the slow attack. So
Yep.
it comes down to the whole meta knowledge question as well, I guess.
Yeah. Now I'm just worried with my character sheet because I made some calculations and I am not sure if I counted them right.
Getting different results each time.
I got different results the first time, but I got the same results the second and third time.
Alright.
But it just feels
Do you
too,
wanna-
like
do-
my remaining points seem too high. But I did
Do you
go
wanna-
according.
Can you give me all the numbers? I can basically replicate my own sheet and
Well, I mean
check.
that's what I. Yeah, I mean I calculated the times that did match according to your sheet, so I'm guessing that's correct.
Right. Post it up and I'll check it anyway. We gotta check it before we play.
Yeah, I'm gonna fill it out entirely first because right
Ah.
now I have still a couple points remaining.
Um,
Because
yeah. Eisen, because we have a bit of extra time, do you want to fill in a bit of actual character detail? Like some flaws and stuff?
Let's see.
At the very least, put in flaws. Just to make... In case something comes up, gives
Sure.
me something to work with.
Sure.
And don't give me those, those crappy flaws that will never come up. You're like, oh, has a fear of winged snakes from the desert region.
I mean a sand dragon could show up.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. That's just me clutching at straws as a GM.
Yeah.
Ugh. I've actually had that sort of moment happen too, where it was one of those systems where if a botch comes up twice, roll on this table to see whose flaws come into play and all that stuff. And somebody had they had a phobia of fire dragons, and that got rolled on the chart. Problem was we were in a polar region,
Yeah.
so it's like the system's designed around rolling that. We have to go with it, but it's like, why the hell would a red dragon be in a polar cap?
I mean maybe it doesn't like ice and came to melt it.
Yeah, but we were at basically the pole,
Yeah.
so the extreme center point.
You recommended to take chi manipulation barrier 1, yeah?
Yeah, just because it gives you something to spend your chi on and its damage reduction. So
Yeah, because you're gonna have chi, so it would be good to have something to spend it on, indeed.
exactly, the only other time you'll end up losing chi is if something drains it from you. So-
Yeah. The stuff like amplify, it only affects it only affects chi stuff, yeah?
In chi manipulation, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's another aspect. Do you understand the whole current and maximum values and all that of chi and vigor?
Mhm.
Because that's another vital aspect. So the maximum, minimum, current, remaining, all that kind of stuff. How about you, Eisen? Did you get it?
Yeah, I think I got it from failing to understand it the first time.
It's another one where I've had to rewrite multiple times, but again, people complain about the complexity, but I can't make it less complex without ruining the whole point of the system. Again, going back to
I'm mostly gonna be a vigor character.
Yeah, melee characters tend to be. Are you actually going into any of the vigor manipulation stuff?
Yeah, that's why I was looking at the whole thing
Yeah.
about the chi stuff and such. So
Like,
I'm just gonna
efficiency's
take
a
chi
pretty
barrier,
good
but
one.
I'm actually gonna take some skills in vigor manipulation.
Yeah.
Because isn't that like the supernatural melee combat stuff?
Sort of. Whenever you use physical attributes, you always consume vigor.
Yeah.
So, it's... Yeah, chi is manipulation of spirit energy. You got stamina, which is your average person's, go throughout the day. But I guess the difference between vigor and stamina is, how, like, you'll be working, you'll get worn out, but then if you rest for a little bit, you'll be able to keep going again, but then you're more fatigued than you were, muscle-wise and all that.
Yeah.
So stamina is your overall fatigue. Vigor is your what, as a Jew would put it, chutzpah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, not meaning to come off racist there, but, gotta love that these days. If you mention anything that a certain race might say, it's considered racist. Even though it's like, chutzpah
That's
is a
racist.
Jewish word.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm Australian. I don't exactly know many Jews to, have much to really go off.
Yep.
Yeah. I must admit, there was a joke on Family Guy that I never got until last year. Because it was a racial slur against Jews.
Wow.
And, we don't have them.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
Which is funny because the joke was specifically about an Australian saying it by accident. Which kind of adds to the meta humour, because the Australian wouldn't have known that he said a racial slur.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird how that worked. But the joke specifically, it was an Australian in a Jewish bakery. Just, "Core blimey, look at all these kikes."
The
yeah,
what?
Okay. That makes sense. Kikes, as in cakes, but it also means it's a racial slur.
Okay.
Kike is a racial slur against Jews, but then him saying kike, it was just an exaggerated Australian accent of cake. So,
Gotcha.
again, I never... When I first watched it, I just thought the joke was because he has an exaggerated Australian accent.
What's the
doesn't say
difference
right.
between chi and vigor barrier? It does the same thing except expends the different resource, right?
Yep.
So if I'm a vigor character, but I'll have chi barrier, I don't need to take barrier in vigor technically, right? Because I will not be using chi for anything else. I should have enough of it.
Yeah. Part of the reason is too, like, if you want to conserve your chi to actually get a blast, you can use your vigor. Because chi
Yeah,
recover...
so if you, it's kind yeah, so
Chi
it's
is a
useful
daily
to have
resource.
it's kind of useful to have the less preferred ability for the barrier because of that
Yeah.
functionality.
It's also, chi is a daily resource, but vigor will recover after, 10-minute rest.
Yeah.
Well, half of it will, anyway.
So, vigor efficiency, that is, like, if you have efficiency strength as a skill, that lets you empower attacks made with that stat.
No. Efficiency, like I said, you'll always consume vigor when you use physical attributes. Efficiency
Yeah, so
lowers
you can-
how much you consume.
Yeah, cool.
So if, and again with the costs of using the attributes, it's whatever its base value is, divided by 2, plus the difference between the base value and the effective value. Which I know sounds confusing, but if your base value is 4, then you have 2 for the base cost of that. But then if your altered value is 5, then the difference between 4 and 5 is 1, so you end up spending 3, which is the 2 plus the 1
Yeah.
is difference. Now, if you're at that situation and you had 3 points in vigor efficiency, then you spend nothing.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a way to have people use higher altered values for longer.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I actually got the idea of that from Naruto tabletop RPG, which wasn't bad.
There is a Naruto tabletop RPG.
Not an
I'm
official
pretty
one.
sure there's a tabletop RPG for everything at this point.
Like, there's Naruto D20 mods and all that stuff. But this was its own unique system. But one of the things that they did that was interesting, one of the problems that most of these anime things do is they just give you extremely high pools of energy, which leads to ability spam.
Yeah.
What this did, instead of giving you a massive, like, your high level characters are going to have more chakra, as they call it in Naruto. They're going to have more chakra than a lower level character, but not by much. What they've done instead is make lower level techniques cheaper to use as you get high level.
Yeah.
So it gives the effect of being able to throw them more often, but then your higher level powerful techniques are still restricted only a couple times in a battle. Which is a really good approach.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about it, that's more what it is, isn't it? It's not that they have a massive amount, they're just the low level techniques they can throw around all the time, sure, but they can still only throw out high level stuff a couple times. It's also why I made your chi pool in this so low. Like, I've had a couple people look at it expecting more like Dragon Ball Z, where they're just throwing stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And saying, it's like, oh, but I run out after just a couple moves. Yeah, that's the point. That
tends to happen.
That's why I emphasize that it's based around Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
Like, you watch Dragon Ball, like, what's the most times you see Goku throw a Kamehameha? Is like 4 times, and that's against Piccolo in the final arc.
Yeah.
It's like, even then, it wasn't
I'm
thrown
pretty
all
sure
the time.
for some reason I'm pretty sure his Master Roshi, I'm pretty sure was the name, threw more Kamehameha at the end. By the end of Dragon Ball, than way more.
Yeah, he had a
Master
lot
Roshi
more
probably
techniques
threw
than
more
he
than
used.
Goku did.
Yeah, but then also remember, Roshi is a master. I'm pretty sure he has a lot more to work with.
Yep.
Like, doing Roshi, he might have like 2,000 character points. And then you got efficiency on that. Like, think about it too, when Goku first learned the Kamehameha, he could use it once.
And dance a car.
Yeah, I'm just talking like, Goku, the Saiyan, the main character who was really powerful, could use the Kamehameha once, and then later on could do it twice before he got worn out. And it wasn't even a proper Kamehameha. So yeah, that was the idea where it's like, it's based around Dragon Ball where when you use these attacks, they're a big thing.
I'm gonna make a secondary check that all this shit is correct.
Yep. It's also, looking at the mechanics of the chi attacks, do you feel that it would feel special using one?
I'm gonna look into them after I've done counting. I can't count and read at the same time,
Okay.
or I get confused.
Well, Isaac, I'm sure you've looked into it a bit.
The chi part, I did not.
Oh, okay.
At all.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Because-
skimmed it. I read it the first and second time, but I've kind of forgotten half of it.
Yeah. I've also tried to write this system in a way that you can replicate most things that you'd see in anime. But there is something I haven't been able to work out just because, it wasn't really an attack. But, Isaac, you would have an idea of this. If somebody was to have an extra 2 arms, what would be the best way to replicate it?
Wouldn't that be
in actual martial arts, if somebody had an extra 2 arms, how much more of an advantage would it give them?
Way too much.
Would it just be bonuses on attacks and damage when they attack, or would they get twice the rate of attacks?
If they have extra
Okay,
two
what the
arms.
fuck happened there? I got a result that's a decimal. I must have misclicked something. What the hell?
You got...
With my spreadsheet, you might have decimals.
Yeah, I have no idea how you could get a decimal. They're all whole numbers. You didn't divide something by accident, did you?
Yeah, I think I just misclicked something at some point. That's what I was thinking.
Oh wait, which part's the decimal? Like in point cost?
No, I'm just... Well, yeah, that was it. So I just misclicked because there's whole numbers, nothing else. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking it might have been the purchase cap part you were looking at or something.
Yeah. That's because that's the
So,
only
yeah,
place
how
you can divide.
how high could your stats go? Like, is having a 5 in a stat too high? I don't think so, right?
There's
Might have a
no
5.
there's no cap on
Yeah.
attributes.
Yeah.
The soft cap is the points plus the vigor expenditure. Like, okay, you can build your natural strength up to 10. Then you're using 5 vigor a hit.
Yeah.
And on top of that, because your strength is so high, your vigor is also going to be high, which raises the altered value of all your other attributes. Which means they're going to cost a lot more to use as well. So the balance is more the soft cap, you know.
Yeah.
That's just making sure I wrote it right too. Da da da. Da 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 do 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 do. Da da da. Okay, so I did write it. You can forget what I just said about the other attributes. You can always use them at their base value, no matter how high your altered value is. Or active value, sorry.
Okay.
I previously wrote it that you could only use it between your active value and halfway to your base value. But, yeah.
I'm gonna read up on the cheating a little bit.
Okay.
Can I put my points somewhere so one of you could check that I counted it right?
Just chuck it into general.
Just as in plain text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Character sheets are pretty short. Which is pretty handy. You gotta, I mean, like, the full sheet, obviously, with the whole skill list is gotta be long. But just writing it up is pretty quick. Okay.
I mean, that's the mechanic stuff I have.
Yep.
It cut out the bolding I had for the subclass. I mean the core skills, but oh well.
It's okay, we can tell what's what.
Yeah.
So you just got...
I mean, I have it here so I can see. Discord didn't.
put quite a few points into the strike types, didn't you?
Yeah.
Not saying it's wrong or anything, it's just like... Looking at a 4 and a 3 and a 2, that would have cost quite a bit of points.
Yeah. I wanted it to be 2.
Okay, fair enough. Well, again, because of the system as well, if you just wanted to get to 2, you could take 1 off hook, put 1 into jab, and then have some extra points left over.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like the character's fighting style, in a sense, would
Went more for
favor
trick shots.
certain types of abilities. I mean,
Yeah.
attacks.
Just thinking though, like, if you take 1 out of hook, that still leaves it at 3, the same as heavy. Put 1 into jab, that still leaves you at 10 total. And then you could at least put 1 into one of your punches.
Yep.
Again, it's up to you what you want to do. I'm not forcing it, just saying, like, that's partly why I did the escalating cost as well, where you have to make the decision, do I make this stronger, or do I get a few weaker things and actually branch out a bit? I encourage both specialization. Like, the mechanics obviously benefit specialization, but I've also encouraged generalization.
Yeah, the costs ramp up pretty fast.
Yeah. Which, given
So
I've
your
put the skill
health
cap
is
at
really
10...
low.
What was that?
Turns out the calculated health. Turns out the health for his character is really low compared to
Yeah,
mine.
that's why I'm asking. Yeah, because I know I have still a couple points left, so I'm wondering because like I'm gonna put some points maybe into my secondary stats, but I'm not 100% sure
Yeah.
on like how many
So-
points I actually have to spend.
My character
like,
has
how many I have
12.
left.
My character has 12 health, and yours has 4.
Yeah, you could just spend directly into health, the secondary attribute. Looking at though, you might be better off increasing con and strength, because they'll also increase your stamina, which can be spent for extra things. I don't know if you read that part.
Yep.
And also increasing your strength will make you do more damage as well. Only
And I
one
think your
point.
chi is-
Huh?
Your calculated chi will be probably still be around 10. Sorry, not 10.
Yeah, I'm not gonna use chi much.
Yeah, your calculated total amount of chi is probably going to be around 10. Let me see.
So
There's one more
it's
thing
10
I have not
times
checked
ranks plus willpower. So he'll have 20 chi.
yet. 10 plus what?
It's 10 times the ranks in chi manipulation and 10 times willpower.
Gotcha.
So that's 20. And that's it too. Just taking that one rank in barrier gives you an extra 10 chi to spend with it. Which I feel is pretty fair enough. Yeah, I'll just make sure I've got it right. So, activating Chi Barrier, Draco, it's 4 Chi per damage source it's against, and the damage reduction is 1 per rank.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also keep in mind, your con is also damage reduction as well. Yeah. Part of the reason too, I've tried to keep the health relatively low. Again, going off the Dragon Ball example, one of the problems that a lot of the anime adaptations is they're always given just massively high health balls. But when you actually watch the fights themselves, most of the hits, they block or dodge, and then they're taken down in just a few good hits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, that's how most of the fights go. It's just a few good hits will get them down onto the ground. And they block most of them. So, that's why I kept health relatively low.
For calculating vigor, every rank in vigor subskill means everything under vigor manipulation, yeah?
Yeah.
But not the core skill itself.
No. That's why I wrote sub-skills specifically. Or else that would ramp up too quickly.
Yeah.
Jeez, you have quite a bit of vigor actually. Because of the amplify.
Mm-hmm.
So keep in mind, so each rank in the vigor sub-skills will give you 2. But that amplify will give you bonus 2. Which is...
Oh, I have vigor.
So it's 3. So it's 6 from them. So you have 14 from vigor alone. From the vigor manipulation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then I have stats.
Mm-hmm. From stats alone,
Yeah. All physicals.
you have
28.
yeah.
So it's 2 times what you have. So
42.
it's 28 from that. And 1,
Yeah,
2,
total
3,
42 vigor.
4, 5, 10, 14. I said 28, didn't I?
You did say 28. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
28.
So 42.
Yep.
Which means the 50% value running off, if you choose to go at 50%, is half that, which is 21. But with Amplify, you can boost how high you get it.
What did you say? Sorry.
So by default, your maximum output for Vigor is half of your total.
Yeah.
So you'll be running at 21, not 42. But because you have 2 ranks in Amplify, you can increase it by up to 12 total. So you can get up to between 21 and 33.
Cool.
Yeah. But because you have no ranks in, I think it's Control, you can only move it one point at a time per motion point.
Right.
Yeah.
How much could I move it with a point of control?
It's 1 plus ranks.
Okay.
So if you got 3 ranks in Control, then and remember that's per motion point, not per round.
Yeah.
So for every, if you give it 3 ranks, and for every motion point you can change it up and down by 4, which is the equivalent of 1 in the active values.
So where are the skill explanation?
I haven't really elaborated on basic skills, but the energy skills are in page 23.
Page 23.
Yep.
Yeah, but basic skills I haven't elaborated on though. I figured because I'm keeping it relatively open, that's one of the last things I got to worry about. Get the rest of the mechanics working first. And page.
You will need to probably once again in the future you will need to probably explain a little bit better at the very least how to calculate vigor and chi. That was one big thing I had.
Yeah, it's really just got a brief sentence about
misunderstood.
Could probably write some more examples as well.
If I were to change bonus vigor into 1 level of control, how much vigor would I lose?
Because you're trading 1 rank for 1 rank, bonus vigor only gives you 2 bonus.
Yes, I would only lose 2.
Yep. Which would, you're at 44, wasn't it?
I was at 42, so I would be at 40.
42. That's right. So at 40, which brings your default value to 20, which also divides evenly to give you active values of 5. So, you know.
I like that more. Seems more useful and it's easier to calculate.
Yeah. That's just for every 4 you increase that by, your active values increase by 1.
So how many points did I have left? Because I checked and got
Izen, did you actually run the numbers on how many points you spent?
Let me do that real quick, because I kind of deleted it.
I'll do it as well, just to have both results.
I just realized I actually read the numbers wrong on your bigger manipulation skills. You would have had 2 lower than you did before. I read Amplify as bonus for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, you're still just 2 lower there. But if you increase your constitution by 1, that'll give you that extra 2 back, make it a 40 again anyway. Well, heck, if you want to run it at 40, you have Amplify, so you can increase it. Well, it wouldn't run at 40, sorry, but if you want to bring it to 20, that's what I meant. Ugh. So you don't feel like character creation takes too long, do you?
Well, I mean, I'm a bad person to ask about that, because I mean, I love creating characters.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a long process, but it wouldn't be so long if, honestly, if the PDF had a directory, I'd be done by now. It's just I'm really bad at reading PDFs where I have to scroll, because I keep forgetting and I have to keep going back and forth.
Fair enough. But even at that,
I'm used to just Hmm?
Even with you being like that, do you feel it's a short amount of time for a character
It's a
point
medium
system?
amount. It's a medium amount of
Yeah.
time. I mean, you'd spend more time making a burning wheel character than this,
Yeah.
because you'd have to think up of all the backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess too. It's
I would be faster at that than this, but someone else would be faster at this than that.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair enough.
Yeah,
when you take into account as well how the complexity of the game. Do you feel the character creation is a decent time?
Um, just reading about the combat itself, I think the character creation is quite fast compared to the complexity of the game.
Right. Because yeah, apparently that's one thing I've gotten feedback over is, you know, where character creation can't be long if the game itself is short, and yeah, so having a more complex system, you're allowed to have
Yeah.
longer character creation if you have a more complex system.
Yeah, and also I feel like you should have shorter character creation for like I don't know, of course the game doesn't determine how many sessions you'd have in a game or
Yeah,
how long they'd be, but for a game with more session like a more play hours, could have more character creation time.
yeah, it's about how
'Cause
much you
like
get after you've created your character.
yeah, yeah. This is a playtest, so that doesn't really apply in that sense. But
Yeah,
like, let's say if I was going to play Burning Wheel and we spent the whole first session making 4 characters, and then we only had one actual play session, that would be a bummer.
yeah,
But like in D&D, if you make a character in half an hour and you play for 4 hours, then that's totally fine.
yeah, yeah. I guess going with this as well is once you know the system better, not only will you not have to keep looking back at things, you'll remember the point
Yeah,
cost and
it'll
you
be a
know
lot
what you
faster.
actually want.
Yeah,
So this is probably one that can be done in like 20, 30 minutes if you know the system.
yep. Also, regarding the directory for the PDF, you can just literally just copy these because you've bolded and underscored these like these little captions.
Yeah,
What do you call those? Headers. You can just literally copy those and list the page numbers for those in the like first page.
true.
So then you can control F between these. That's
Yeah,
basically all you really need to do to it.
right, right.
You don't need to have like all the keywords and shit listed. You can just kind of find that but on your own.
Yeah, I
Because
gotcha.
these paragraphs that you've written are very like compact and good. The actual like information's good.
Okay, so yeah, so besides, needing a directory and you forgetting where bits and pieces are, was it pretty easy to read? And did it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I like it. It's to the point.
Was there any part that stood out as either being incomplete or, just being bad? You know how you read some rules and
Um,
things and just think, yeah,
I could have another look at it in that sense. I haven't really read this in from like from a literary perspective. I could do that at some point. It wouldn't be a
okay.
problem.
But you know how you read
From
some.
now, yeah, you like usually when I make a read a rule set to play the game, I kind of read the parts that I see would be relevant in game.
Right. Even then, though, just the game relevant stuff, which is what most of the players would read, was there anything that
Seems
stood
to
out
be
as being
there.
bad?
Um, Not really. I kind of like these. Um,
You know how you read some rule books and you look at some part of it, it's just, that sounds horrible.
yeah, you just look at some part of it and it's just like you read it over and over and it never stops being a mindfuck.
Yeah, yeah. Or just a
Everything
bad
here
roll.
makes sense.
Yeah. Well, sometimes.
Because you have examples for everything that's complex.
Yeah, I'm trying to put more examples
If
in.
Yeah, if anything, if you want to be even more like thorough, because there's a lot of examples already, it would be nice to have 2 examples instead of one, because then instead of like just looking at it, because it's maths. So if you had 2 examples, you would have 2 different ways to reach a different result, or
I
even
gotcha.
the same result if you wanted to, because then the players would kind of see that hey, you can do this more than this way.
Yeah. So yeah.
Jacob, I finally finished the catcher spreadsheet on my end. Did you pour any more points into anything else? Because you have 40 points left from
40.
what I gathered.
So I'm at
Yeah.
135.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
From the amount of things I used.
Yeah, yeah. I shifted around a couple of points, but I didn't like change the total.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, because Aizen is referring to his chart, I'm going to take his word for it for how many points you've spent. I mean, I've already confirmed that the chart's accurate, so...
Yeah, the only thing my chart has flaws in is in vigor and chim calculation, and I basically manually did that
yeah.
for you as well.
But as far as the actual point costs go, you weren't Draco. You weren't spending points where the core skills got a rank, were you?
Where what now?
When the core
No.
skills get a rank, you weren't. It didn't spend points for
No,
that.
that was the first time I did. That's where the results differed there.
Okay. So that's
Yeah,
where.
so I have way more points left than I thought, because I was doing these like I was adding points to my stats, and for some reason I just brain farted, and instead like going from 2 to 4, I deduced the full amount here instead of just the difference.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so I pissed away a lot of points there. So
instead of spending 5, you
my,
spent the total to get to 3, or to get to 4.
Yeah.
So you effectively doubled the point spent.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is a lot of stats I can't really have, but no, I can still have quite a...
There you go. So definitely increase your strength in con.
Yeah, that's what I up both by 2 immediately.
Okay. So now that you've spent your points properly, do you feel that 175 is a bit more reasonable?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my
So
character is
if
still
you-
not very smart, but yeah, he's a combat specialist, and it seems like it works.
Yeah, if you have 4 strength and 4 con, you still have 22 points left. And do you
Yup.
really only have 1 in all mental stats? Because
Yeah, I upped wisdom and perception already.
I would suggest too, if you have the points left to spend, maybe get some of the perception skills. If I listen, senses. Just because, otherwise you're relying basically on a d6 plus your perception stat.
Yeah.
Also keep in mind, monks, monastery, and a forest. You don't have to again, it's... Yeah. Just if you got the points to spend.
Senses, yeah.
Oh, that's another one that people immediately go to complain about when I run my system. When I mention that perception is an attribute. It's obviously I get that doesn't make sense. Should be a skill. It's like, but if you see the skill system, it does make sense as a mental attribute. And no, you can't take energy perception, by the way.
because human?
No, it's a trained skill essentially. You need to find somebody to
Gotcha.
teach you. The reason I've made it behind a GM wall at the start is energy perception is essentially blind sense.
Right. Yeah.
So instead of using
Supernatural
listen
sense,
and
okay.
see, you might use energy perception
Yeah,
instead.
that's where the asterisk is there.
Yeah. That's why linking's got the asterisk as well, because that's an optional role. Yeah. Also won't be using the faster than sight optional role either, so don't worry about that.
Should I have enough listen and see stuff to make the total skill go to 1, or is it enough to put 3 points in it, or 2, to have just a couple of those?
as I've written it, you don't add a modifier to your d6 if you're not trained. So go for the 3. I might make an exception afterwards, but as it is now, you'll just roll a d6, no modifier. So.
Right. So if I have like if I only had listen 1 out of all the senses, and I made a listen roll, it would be 1d6 plus 1.
Yep. Wouldn't add your perception to it.
Cool.
Which I can see people saying is a bit weird. But
well,
then, if you're
I
not,
don't think it's weird because it's a d6, so you can only go like. 'Cause it's a big jump to get another die.
Yeah, but then thinking about it too, it's like, like with the C sense, it's not saying that you're blind, but using the skill is when you're specifically trying to actively do it. You can be as perceptive as you like,
trying to look for something in
Yeah.
the distance, you have to use C.
Yeah, you can be as perceptive as you like, but if you don't know how to actually scan around for things, and obviously, like seeing something like a container of butter on the bench is only going to be like a difficulty 3 anyway,
Yeah.
which you can make on a d6. Like, it's stuff like that where like passive stuff that you'd be able to see in front of you would be a low check that you can make on a d6. Just might take you longer to do it.
Yep.
So, so you've read the explode and backfire rules, yeah?
I read them before, not right now here.
Yeah, but you've got the idea that they're a thing.
Yeah, I like the explode idea.
Yeah, the fact that it can trade over to damage as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not entirely decided on whether if you're rolling 1 dice, if a backfire can remove itself or not, but, currently as it is, it can, but we'll see how that plays, right? Keep in mind, if a backfire dice removes itself, you still add your other modifiers to the check, so it's not like you're left with nothing.
What do you mean?
So if you're rolling 1d6 from having 3 skill ranks, it's 1d6 plus your attribute. If that die rolls a 1, it backfires and has to remove the highest rolled dice, which is that dice. But you'd still add your attribute to the check. So you'd have a result of 0 from the dice plus attribute.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna post the character stats and skill thing.
Okay.
I think I have spent 1/7.
How much did you think you spent? Sorry? 175.
Yeah, I spent 174 total, I think.
Ah, both of you came out with 1 point left.
Yeah.
Izan, can you run those numbers?
I'm not sure about the
I'm doing it.
energy. Hmm?
Which aren't you sure about? Sorry?
I'm not sure about the vigor.
Okay.
And the stamina, because I think those two changed.
Right.
The others should be bueno.
I'll run the stamina and the vigor. Okay. So
And
that's
I'll change them to the right one.
5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 4. Whoop. 4, 4, 5, 5. 1, 1, 1, and 2. Okay, your vigor is 46.
Cool.
Which, your default maximum is half of that, plus your 2 ranks in edge.
Yep.
Amplify. So that's... Your maximum is 35.
Cool.
And then stamina is... What was that? Strength plus... Oh, sorry, con plus... This is why I was letting you know I'd be checking the... I'd actually be checking the PDF a lot to make sure I get the right thing myself. stamina, con plus willpower. So
No, that's 5.
yeah, so that's too high than it was. Your health is 8. Okay, so you didn't spend any points in the secondary attributes.
No,
Okay.
I went for the skills instead.
Yep, that's fine.
So if I swap the point from wisdom to willpower, I'll get 6 stamina, right?
Yeah.
From 5 to 6. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll do that. I'm gonna take the screenshot again as a character sheet.
Okay.
Done.
Um. Okay. Also, because your willpower is going up, your chi will get an extra 10 as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Of course, it's like intelligence and wisdom don't directly apply to anything, which immediately makes them seem like dump stats. But then you think skill-wise, intelligence and wisdom will apply to most things that
Yeah.
aren't physical, which seems relatively balanced to me, you know. I'll be right back, guys. Feel free to discuss amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Yo, Eisen, what time is it over there?
5:30, 5:30 ish.
PM? Damn. You two are like during the day. 3:30 a.m. here.
Man, so much work. You alright? Still hanging in there?
I like being up at night. It's just being like living in EU and being a night person means that all my contacts are like US people. So when I have class, long days, I can't be in touch with anyone because I'm so tired at night. But I love it because, you know, get to play RPGs at night instead of sleeping. It's much more fun.
Makes sense. Let's see. What did I do? Seems like you are. That's odd. Seems like you have 180 points spent instead of 175.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look.
Let me confirm.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hi.
So anything interesting happened while I was gone? Yes? No?
I
Eisen checked my sheet.
seems like Draco spent 180 rather than 175. I'm rechecking my my math.
Right. Draco, won't you change in wisdom to willpower as well?
Huh?
I was looking at the spreadsheet. Wisdom's at
Yeah,
2,
I,
willpower's at 1.
yeah, I think considering his wisdom and perception are at 2,
Yeah,
they cost 5.
that shouldn't have cost 5.
Oh, that's the primary. Never mind. My bad. But yeah, that's still 180. It seems.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's probably because of the senses.
Oh, right, you put ranks into sense and didn't put them elsewhere. Keep in mind too that when you go to do the checks with the senses, they'll still be mixed with another skill.
Yeah.
All skill checks are 2 different skill ranks together plus an attribute. Very rarely will it be 1.
Yeah.
And when it is, you add 2 attributes anyway. So
I need 5 points. I'm going to. Yeah, so I'm going to.
tell you what, if you take 1 out of amplifier, I'll let you run at 1 point over.
Huh?
If you take 1 out of amplify, I'll let you run at 1 point over. Or, 1 out of another one if you rank 2 skills.
Yeah, then I'll lose the rank in vigor manipulation though.
I would rather recommend you lose your ranking smell.
Oh, I just
Although
realized. Guys, Hook is now at 3, but he's still taking 18 points for it.
Wait, what?
Which one is 3?
Hook is at 3, but costing 18 points.
Okay, my bad.
So, that puts you 1 point under.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I changed it. I changed the hook
Yeah,
from
forgot
4
about that.
to 3, and I put jab on 2. Yeah.
So that should give you 1 point extra. There you go.
Yeah, that you have an
What's
extra
it for?
point left.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So I didn't fuck up. Okay.
Yep,
Good.
it's my end. I didn't verify the hook was 3.
And that's
Well, then
3,
that's
6.
good. Then my stats are ready, and my skills are ready.
Alright, so the points are fine. I'm just making sure everything's sticking to what it should be. So you enter. You swapping wisdom and willpower?
Me?
Yeah. My will is at 2 now, and wisdom is at 1.
Yeah. It's just me looking at
So
it,
my
I'm seeing
stamina's
it.
my stamina's at 6, and my
Okay.
chi is at 30.
Okay. Which gives you a lot more to spend, actually. It's like 3 extra uses of the barrier. Okay.
Which I'm gonna need because I still have low
5.
health.
Yeah. Look, 8 isn't terrible.
Yeah, or maybe it's just because 8 seems like a small number. Maybe it's not actually a small number in this.
I mean,
this
like,
system.
1 good hit would take you down, but then also remember your constitution is damage reduction as well.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, what I was going for is a couple good shots would take someone down.
Yeah. And I put down 1 flaw already. I should
Yep.
probably put down another.
Okay, if it's any consolation, I wrote like an elite guy that you're supposed to fight, and he has 10 health.
Okay, and there's 2 of us.
Cool.
So that seems.
Yeah, so don't feel like your health is too low. Like, I didn't write him to just have to just have 10 health. I was writing up with some higher stats than you guys would have, and he only came out with 10
Yeah.
health. So, heck, actually, you're gonna find out about it existing anyway through plot, but I wrote something up as to be this beast thing. The reason plot's happening anyway. It has 16 health.
Cool.
So, this huge bulking beast only has 16 health.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
that makes sense. It's like, yeah, you always have to consider, yeah, of course, because like when you think about it, a regular person would have 6 health.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And when
so
you
that beast at 16 would still be like two
Oh,
and a
yeah.
half times harder to kill than a person by physical fist
Yeah.
fights.
and then you take damage reduction into account as well, it adds to a lot
Yeah.
more. But then you look at a real fight, that's how a lot of it works. Like you hit hard,
Yep.
but that person will soak up some of the blow before the damage actually registers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like look at proper knife fighters. You know, like they'll take a slash to the arm and it's nothing to them because they're used to it. That's the con giving them damage reduction.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if one of us was to take the same slash to the arm, that will put us out of the fight.
Does it count as a flaw if the character has an idea that they kind of keep to a T, which can be kind of like get in the way sometimes?
Like a paladin oath.
Well, more like my character is protective of all innocent beings, including like animals and stuff. So he wouldn't like
If it can cause detriment,
without
it's
being
a flaw.
directly in their, huh?
If it can cause detriment to your character or get in the way of you achieving success, it's a flaw.
Yeah, because like my character wouldn't fight like a wolf.
Okay. What about in
So that's a
self-defense?
flaw, right? No, he would find a way to not fight because he knows wolves don't attack at will.
Okay. So if you're getting attacked by a wolf, you'd more work out why the wolves are attacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. I'm guessing humans don't count as innocent life, though, by default.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe little kids.
Yeah, if a human attacks you, then fine, it's on.
Yeah, because a human decided to attack me.
Yeah, I gotcha. Just making sure we're on the same page.
So now I got two flaws. My other flaw is anxiety around underground areas and other heavily enclosed spaces. Like my character does not want to be somewhere where technically wind wouldn't blow.
Okay.
The character's very heavily themed around wind.
Yeah. To let you know too, flaws don't have a direct mechanical impact. It's more, you know, like in that particular case, if you guys did have to end up go spelunking, you might have to make willpower checks to not have penalties or, you know, to not run away or whatever.
Yeah, I would have to make a willpower check to even go in the cave.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't be dragged in.
Would never actively attack someone. Initiate an attack count as a flaw, or would that be too minor?
How exactly does it work?
Like I want to attack someone until they attack me first.
Do it have to successfully attack you or attempt to swing? Those are two different things.
Successfully attack me.
Okay, so you won't swing at somebody until they've already made contact. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Because that works out because, well, you're still getting hit before anything happens. That doesn't mean you can't participate in a fight, mind you. You can still, like, I'd allow you to still grapple them, knock them down, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just, fair enough. And again, you can attack without that, just, I might make you make a willpower check or something. Depends on the situation. Yeah, so you guys seem all good. Are you happy with the characters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of the there's a little bit of flavor that kind of, because 175 is good for like a focused character like mine.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I wanted to pick up some of the non-combat skills just for flavor, but then I was like, no, it's fine. I probably won't have to make those kinds of checks that much.
Yeah.
So
you do have some pretty, like, you do have quite a few pretty high rank skills, though. Well, not pretty high rank, but you know what I mean. Like, even at 175 points, if you really needed that extra stuff to branch out, you could drop some of your 3s to 2s and drop some of your 2s to 1s, and
yeah.
Of course, it might be that, 175 still isn't actually enough. Would you say 150 points is what the average person would have? Not your average character, but
what an
like,
trained
to
person
me,
would have, yeah.
like,
yeah, like 150 seems like something a person would have that isn't like any kind of military or anything. They're just good at that something
Yeah.
they do.
again, going off your common person being a peasant farmer type.
Yeah.
Okay.
150 seems like 150 seems like a I don't know an athlete.
Okay, so somebody's that's good at one thing, but not great.
Yeah, like only good at one thing.
Yeah. Again, this is
Yeah, like
only slightly better than normal people. Yeah.
yeah. See, this is the kind of feedback
because
that's
of
good.
course, like normal people usually tend to be decent at something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Because I feel a lot of games kind of put down the quote unquote normal person. No, normal people are actually kind of good at something.
So with 150 points, do you feel that you could make a regular person that's decent at something and still capable at other things? Like a varied interest, but still have something they like more?
Yeah, because I mean, if I look at the stats and if like my stats would average, if I averaged out my stats to be like all threes except like maybe 1-4,
That'll give you a lot more points.
and then I lowered down all my skill threes and just instead took some twos and expanded on some general skills like flavor skills, it would be fine.
Yeah. Alright, if you guys are satisfied with the character, I'm going to stop this recording so I can have character creation as its own thing. And then
Yeah.
restart when we start.
Yeah, took us long enough,
Yeah.
or mostly took me long enough.
Only about 2 hours, and that's with you guys trying to work out a lot of the stuff and a lot of crap talking as well.
Yeah.
Heck,
That's
it's
good.
shorter than some actual published RPGs that are popular, so... But knowing that too, now that you've actually built a character, if you were to build another one, do you think it wouldn't take too long?
If you what now?
So now that you've actually built a character, you have an idea of what the costs are and all that kind of stuff. If you were to build another character knowing what the stuff does, do you feel it wouldn't take very long?
It would take long. I mean, even this one wouldn't have taken this long if I had a better calculator than the default Windows one.
Yeah.
Like, if I actually used Excel like any smart person would, I probably would have been done in half the time.
Is it actually bad that you need a calculator for it?
I mean, it's pretty much implied that we'll need a calculator as soon as we play in RPG with more than 5 stats.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's not. Plus, if I
Like,
include Izen's table into the core book itself, you know, you'll find me doing that in the
you
next
should
version. aren't you?
definitely include the table. It's so small and so useful.
Use
Yeah.
use the table only in the character creation. Basically, the table is only for character creation, only for raising from 0.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
Yeah.
one I used. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Emphasis that people shouldn't use it when they level up or when they train, not level up,
Yeah.
when they train.
yeah.
Or do
Also,
character
in
investment.
fact, yeah, and in fact, actually, I only used the primary one. I didn't scroll to the right at all because I mean the skills are easy enough to count by just changing the number in primary, first one, right? Because the skill costs the same. It's just
No.
Yeah.
Skills are current plus 3, primary current plus 2.
yeah, but because skills start at 0 and primary start at 1,
Oh, right,
it's
yeah.
basically the same.
It's 1 up
So
on...
basically, yeah, the tier difference is literally the same.
Alright, well, I'm going to stop this recording now, so